Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. I think what I say, about a few minutes late. I usually try to be uh, on time, 7 o'clock p.m., but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Man, I'll tell you, it's hot as I don't know what. It's hot as fish grease, as they say, around my way, you know, out here on this side. And, I got the fan on and everything, but still doesn't seem to help. But anyway, guys, we're going to talk about the trades and, all this stuff I talk about when it comes to the trades and how great the trades is and everything to get into the trades. But yes, there is another side to it. I don't want to say a dark side, but just a side that I don't cover much. Now, I do stress safety in all my videos, right? And that's really the most important thing is safety. Okay. And yes, the trades are dangerous. I mean, they always have been. That's the nature of of what it is. When you get into the trades, nobody's denying that. I just never got into the weeds about it. One of the reasons I'm talking about it today is because, um, you know, I, I just felt the urge to talk about it. Right. I remember having discussions in the past with certain individuals who said, "Hey, I'm never going to get into the trades. It's too dang dangerous." And I understand, right? It's not for everybody, right? But the goal is to say that don't let danger or the fear of getting hurt, you know, make you lose the tremendous opportunities that you have when you get into a trade, right? Or learn a skill. I've been driving truck for a long time, 18 wheelers and stuff like that. And, I've seen firsthand just handling something like that, which I consider heavy equipment. You're barreling down the freeway with 80,000 pounds sitting under you. And any wrong move can mean your life or a lot of other people's lives. And, I've been involved in some serious accidents over the years. I've seen, you know, I've seen death in some of its most gruesome forms on the freeway. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details. I'll spare you guys that. But even something like trucking, I mean, the danger is ever present, right? It's there all the time. And not to mention other trades, right? If you're an electrician, you're constantly at risk of getting electrocuted, right? If you're a roofer, and I used to do roofing when I was like probably in my early 20s. Um, you're in danger of falling off of that thing and breaking your bones, or maybe something even worse. Welder, for example. I was a welding instructor for a while. Did some welding, in my lifetime. Um, as much as I love that trade, I mean, there's a lot of things about it that's not healthy at all. I mean, you have, you know, you're dealing with fumes. That's the biggest thing, right? You got to breathe those things in, and if you don't have the right ventilation, the right masks or everything, you're going to work every day breathing that stuff in, and you may not feel it right away, but down the line, when you get older or whatever, it may show up in a lab test at the at the doctors or something like that, telling you have a growth or something, all because you didn't um, wear the right safety equipment or ventilation equipment to protect your lungs from all those fumes. Not to mention like your eyes, right? UV radiation. If you take that mask off and you look at that arc, coming from the welder, you can blind yourself. So yeah, there's a lot of things about it, and you can say that just about any other trade, to be honest with you, right? Whether it's electrical, welding, HVAC, construction, whatever it is, somebody, you know, in your life who's involved in these trades could probably tell you a lot of stories, right? And a lot of times these guys are missing fingers. That should tell you all you need to know right there. Yeah, it's a dangerous work, a lot of these trades. But at the same time, it's if you there's no guarantee, right? Mistakes are going to be made, right? You're not gonna not make mistakes. The goal is to make make them as small as possible, right? Not life-threatening things. And to go into the trade, whatever that is, and understand the dangers first off, so you can avoid them, right? Not just have your head in the clouds and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be a welder, or I'm going to be a trucker, or I'm going to be and not understanding the danger that comes with that job, right? That's why they pay you hazard pay. Now, I used to, sometimes I still do, take containers in and out of the ports, right? Shipping containers. And, down there you have longshoremen. And man, even as a trucker taking containers in and out of the ports, someone's always losing their life on those ports. It's just ridiculous, I think I was at a particular port one night, and they told everybody to leave, right? They shut it down, and you had to get out of it. You take your truck and get it out of there. Come to find out, one of the containers actually fell on someone. Now, these containers are about 40 feet, right? There's usually 40-foot containers full of who knows what, and they have these gigantic cranes that lift them and move them and everything. And they also have 20-footers as well, 20-foot containers. But apparently this longshoreman got caught with his pants down or something like that. And whatever happened, I'm not sure, but the container fell off of it. Maybe, I don't know if it fell from the crane or it got knocked off of its pile. But he didn't, he tried to outrun it, and it caught him. And, those things weigh about, they could weigh like, I don't know, 40,000 pounds or something like that. It's up there. Imagine that landing on you, right? So that's, yeah. So, I've seen things. I've been in the vicinity of things, being around industrial type trades. I was a lineman for a short period of my lifetime, climbing those poles, dealing with the high voltage stuff. And just the fact that, you could fall off of the dang pole if you're not, you have to learn how to climb this stuff. And they have all the equipment for that. But yeah, this is just a risk when you get into the trades, whatever that is, okay? And so I'm not trying to sugarcoat the dangers that are out there and just be on here promoting, hey, get into a trade. And not, I just felt the need to just say, hey, there's another side to this, that if you do get into it, it could be very, very much worth it, financially or however you handle yourself. But there's, you have to be safe. Okay. You have to understand the risks when you get into these trades, that all it takes is one small mistake, and that could be it. Okay. So let's see here. Here's the thing I want to talk about as far as like welding and stuff, right? You got UV radiation, okay, that you got to deal with, right? And you got the molten metal, right? So when you're welding, sometimes there's something called spatter, right? The metal is kind of spatters and it flies all over the place in small little pellets. And I can't tell you how many times I've been burnt by those things. And it'll burn right through your welding jacket, right? If you have a cheap welding jacket, it'll burn right through there. It'll burn through your shirt, through your shoes too. That's the thing that I was like, how did it get through my shoe? Well, it's molten metal. It's gonna melt. It's gonna go right through your shoe. It's gonna get in your shoe. It's gonna burn your foot. And then I mentioned the fumes. So yeah, be prepared for that if you want to get into welding. So safety is paramount. You're not sitting at a desk, typing, doing data entry or some kind of sedentary, stationary work. It's a whole other world, whole other ball game. But it can be very rewarding if you understand the risks, and you're not just blindly walking into a particular type of trade. And that should be stressed. Okay, that should be stressed all the time, because it's not funny. I mean, even when I was in the military, I don't know if you consider that a trade, but even in I went to airborne school, right? Because I was in Fort Bragg, 82nd Airborne back in the day, and people when you're jumping out of the plane, right? They have this thing called a static line, and when the static line gets to its end, that's when it pulls the chute out, and then you learn how to steer the chute and all that stuff. But I've seen people, I've seen that line get caught up in the plane and the plane drag those people through the air. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah. So I've seen quite a few things happen. When it comes to work that involves your body, involves getting out there in the elements, all kinds of things. Okay. But would I do it again? Hell yeah. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, I enjoyed jumping out of plane, man. That was one of the reasons I got in that thing, got in there, because I wanted to do that. So you can't let fear stop you from, learning a skill or having that experience and, adding to your life, adding value to your life, because every skill has a learning curve, right? And part of that learning curve is understanding or making mistakes, hopefully not fatal or not debilitating. But part of that learning curve is understanding the dangers and learning how to avoid them. That's what makes you a better soldier, right? Or makes you a better tradesman, or makes you better at anything, right? You can be a trader. You can trade stocks sitting at a computer, and not being a newbie, you won't understand the pitfalls of making the wrong trade or making the wrong moves or not. But that's because you're a newbie. You don't understand how things work, and you can lose a lot of money, right? But once you understand the dangers of it, you're sitting at a computer, so you're not physically in danger, but you're financially in danger, right? Same thing, right? If you learning how to drive. I remember I took my son out, teaching him how to drive, and it was quite an experience, right? I had to learn emotional control then, because he ran into a car, and of course I had to end up paying the guy. You know what I mean? It's almost like he was extorting money out of us. But it's things like that, right? It's just life stuff, things in life you just gotta learn, and you gotta go through some stuff. Okay. Same with the trades, right? So much to learn, right? So much to learn. But so don't let the fear, if you have any, of what you've heard stop you from at least exploring and getting into new territory and cutting your teeth. And I guarantee you'll come out much better. You'll come out with a skill that can support you for the rest of your life, right? And that's what you want. So I guess the goal of this live is really just to say, listen, don't walk around with fear in your heart. You know what I'm saying? Don't walk around with fear. That's the one thing that keeps a lot of people, stuck, right? Scared to do this, scared to do that. You might as well just don't come out of your house if you're scared, right? Just stay in there, right? Just watch TV all day, right? Live vicariously through somebody else. If and I'm kidding, right? I don't want you to actually do that, but I just want to stress that yes, the trades are dangerous, right? There's a lot of danger in these trades that you will encounter, but once you understand that the opportunity outweighs the danger, you could be set for life if you apply yourself. Okay. It's Sue. Hey, sorry I'm late. Hey, don't worry about it. Glad you could make it. It's just a short live. I'm not staying on here too long. Just want, so I should have changed the title and say, hey, listen, no fear. handle your business, do what you got to do, and leave it at that, because that's basically the message of this live. So anyway, short live. Hope you guys got something from this. Don't be scared. Go out there and learn something, right? You'd be surprised at what you could accomplish if you put fear in the back, in the back burner, and see what it has to offer. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's it for tonight. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Short and sweet.